Welcome to a world of thrills, a world of drama, of capes and tights, a world where death is a revolving door. Welcome to the Geek Matrix. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Geek Matrix DC Comics Review Show, episode number 222, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
222.
222. And it looks like it's going to rain. We are here on a Wednesday, not a Thursday. Special nights, because tomorrow night is Halloween across at least the greater North and South America. I don't think it's that big in other parts of the world. I could be wrong.
There's trick-or-treating. All over.
All over.
One form or another. That's what I want for the world.
Oh, God, yeah. It's just a fun holiday. It really is. Yeah, whether you're into like the pagan side of it, the Dios de los Muertos side of it, whether you're just into like the costumes and the candy, whether you're into just like the fucking any side of it,
smash it all together.
Fun, and definitely don't smash all those pumpkins to pieces before November 1st.
No, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Get in the spirit. Get those jack-o'-lanterns aflame and have some fun with it. We did our decorating last night. We did a jack-o'-lantern for the first time.
Nice.
For the first time?
Yeah, the last time we did jack-o'-lanterns, it didn't work out so well, and I cut way too much and just became a big hole. So that didn't work.
No. That happens, and it's also why you buy more than one.
Yeah. Now we got one going. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. But yeah, happy Halloween to everybody for tomorrow. From what I understand, you do not celebrate Halloween specifically, Josh. What is it you celebrate tomorrow night?
Samhain. It's the same thing, just an old name for it.
Right on. For those people that don't know, he's saying Sam Hain.
Samhain. And just have a dinner and friends over, and we take the kids out trick-or-treating, and if there's no trick-or-treating going on that night, we'll make something else happen. And of course they still get a buttload of candy, so
hell yeah. Because after all, isn't that what it's all about? The candy. Not about the ghouls and goblins and spirits and costumes. It's all about the candy.
That's definitely it. And naturally, one of the best things about being a parent is the dad tax on Halloween.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the dad tax, it's where you get to just randomly walk up and grab a piece of candy out of the bag.
Exactly.
No questions asked. What are you doing? It's dad tax.
Yeah. If you have a picky kid, you get the candy that kid doesn't want to. You just gotta hope it's the candy you like. But then you can also, like you said, institute the dad tax.
Dad tax.
Yeah.
Brandon, what are you doing for Halloween? Are you doing anything? You got any plans?
No, I mean, most of the kind of like Halloween festivities we did last weekend. That's kind of when everyone goes out and goes crazy. So I'm at this point, I'm kind of like, my Halloween is going to be staying in the apartment, probably getting some candy, and I don't know, watching Ed, and Eddie's Hanky Panky Hullabaloo for the 50th time.
Right on.
Gotta maintain.
Wait, no, that's the wrong one. That's Valentine's Day. This is Ed, and Eddie's Boo Ha Ha, I think it is.
Yeah. Man, I haven't watched Ed, and Eddie in so fucking long. So
Another show produced almost entirely by Canadians.
Yep.
As the brainwashing continues.
You'd be surprised just how
The
much
brainwashing
content
continues.
you absorb as a child came good old Underdog.
Yeah, I was shocked many years ago to watch an interview with the creator Danny Antonucci, and he's like, "Yeah, it was, some Canada." I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yep.
Something
That was
Canada.
a bit weird. And it's like, huh, what? And then you listen to it again, and you hear them say like, "Oh, sorry," and you're like, "Oh, I didn't know. I just thought that was
Sorry."
Yeah. That little accent aigu comes out.
Yeah. Is that like a nationwide accent quirk, or is it specific to one province, one or two provinces?
It's not necessarily specific, but depending on the province, it either gets harder or softer. Right? It could get worse. Like when you're in
thicker.
Yeah, like so middle area where Kirk and Jess live, it's going to be a little thicker. Northern Ontario is going to be a little thicker. In the city centers, when you're in like southern British Columbia, I mean, I'll say southwestern British Columbia, Vancouver, Victoria area, and like southern Ontario, it's not as thick. Like I don't go sorry, I go sorry. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a little closer to how you guys say it.
Yeah, no, you don't really have that thick of a sorry.
No, not. Sometimes it comes out if I'm not paying attention, but I'll say sorry. Right? I don't go sorry. I go sorry. Right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry,
eh?
Yeah, sorry. And if you're going far east coast into Newfoundland, then good fuck luck even understanding it.
That's Holly.
Yeah, that's a different language.
Yeah.
Holly has she got a promotion here recently, and she's broken into the international deal doing her agricultural research.
Right.
And she had to place a call to a guy in Newfoundland.
Right.
And she said, "I've never had to say what more on the phone, and I've talking to Germans."
Yeah, it's even Canadians don't even understand Newfie sometimes. Right. it's a fucking other language.
Right.
It's wild, but yeah,
it's crazy because it's like
English.
like typical Canadian speech that is simultaneously slowed down to 3/4 speed and sped up to 2 times
at the same time. That is a brilliant way to describe it, and honestly, you're 100% accurate.
Yep. It is something else, man. Let me tell you.
Shit, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, it's something else. But y'all know. If y'all don't know about a Newfie accent by now, you gotta look it up. It's a way of life.
Oh, you know what? You could learn about Newfies a little bit. There's 2 of them that speak anyway in Letterkenny.
And,
it's a fun way to, or Shoresy, excuse me, in Shoresy.
Yeah,
it's a fun way to hear it.
Yeah,
I guess you could look it up on YouTube too. Just 2 Newfies talking.
Hitchcock, was he was Newfie, right? Because he's got that Newfie accent, or was he like New Brunswick, Nova Scotia? Do you remember?
Hitchcock. He was he's Nova Scotian, isn't he?
Okay, I was thinking because like when you're on the East Coast, the 4 little provinces there, they all have a similar accent, but Newfoundland is the only one that's got it so bloody thick you can't really understand it.
Yeah.
Ted
Nova Scotia
Hitchcock
always kind of comes across a little snobby to me.
I mean, it's just the accent. It's the way they speak. But you've heard
exactly.
Ted Hitchcock. So listeners, if you watch Shoresy, you know Ted Hitchcock from that show. He's from Nova Scotia, and at least from what I remember. And that accent, if you dial that up a couple notches, that's a Newfie accent, right? A little faster, a little slurred, a little more slurred, right?
Yeah, slurred.
Yeah.
It's a little more slurred.
A little more slurred, everybody.
Yeah, it's oh boy.
I can only do a pale imitation of a Newfie accent, but that's besides the point. We're not here to talk about Canadian accents again. Somehow,
I'd
at
have
least,
to be reading something to try and do it.
like a few times a year, somehow we get on this topic, and I don't know how. that Canadian accents, but yeah, all I could say is sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Eh?
Sorry.
Sorry, eh?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
eh?
Is that a
I'm sorry.
testament to
Don't be sorry.
How
Say sorry.
fascinating Canadian accents are? Is it?
I'm sorry.
Is it really that interesting?
It's all deviations that, as far as I'm concerned, it's all deviations of the English influence that's going on there, because it's turning the dials up and down. You also get New Zealand and Australian accents out of Canadian accents as well, and it all starts in English.
I
so
can see
it's
that.
got to be the English commonality there.
Yeah, like New Zealand accents to Australians, like Newfie accents to Canadians, and Welsh accents to British.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, as long as you're speaking English, though, it's like somebody turns up the severity dial and the thickness of the dialect there, and it's like that changes where you live.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's a funny thing, because it always seems like sometimes the more north you get, the crazier the accent can become. Maybe not so much in the States, but definitely in England. Because like if you're in London, it sounds like any other BBC broadcast you've ever heard. But if you go up to like Yorkshire or Manchester, it's like a different language. It's just so thick with certain words.
Yeah. And don't even get me started on Scotland.
Yeah.
Scotland? It's like only 3/4 of the language is spoken with the mouth, and 1/4 of it is spoken with the throat. And it's producing syllables. It's not even producing like or like it's weird. Like Scotland, it's way back here.
Yeah.
You Scottish people are weird though. I'm only a quarter Scottish.
Yeah. You're only a quarter Scottish?
I'm only a quarter Scottish.
I didn't even know you're any Scottish.
The joke is that I am the ultimate drinking machine, because I am 25% Irish, Scottish, English, and German.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yikes.
So yeah, right.
I got a friend that's like that too, and we used to be beer pong champions together.
Oh, fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed.
I thought you were
You should-
gonna say you're like a quarter Scotch when you said like Scottish. You started talking about drinking, like you drank so much Scotch, you just naturally became a quarter Scottish.
No, but I mean, I have drank a lot of Scotch.
Yeah.
I love the brown stuff.
Hell yeah.
And I like the book stuff too. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Yes.
We have a grand total of 2 books this week. It's a very small week from DC. But it's a bonus week. It's week 5 of the month. So Here we are.
It happens.
Yeah.
It does. You guys got any news this week?
I actually do, and I forgot to actually bring it back up. But I remember what it is. So Alex Ross revealed. Do you guys remember some time ago, Josh? I don't know if you knew this book came out, but Alex Ross did a book called Fantastic Four. Oh fuck, I don't remember the subtitle to it. But it was
Circle?
Full Circle. That's what it was. Yeah, and it was completely written and drawn by him, painted. I'll say. He announced that he's doing an extended edition. That was a 64-page full-size book, 1 story. The extended edition adds an additional 288 pages of content.
Holy shiesta, that's insane.
Which, from what I could see, I didn't get a chance to read the whole article, but when I skimmed down, I could see like a lot of the pages are going to be like detailed artwork and like going through the breakdowns and the script and whatnot, and like just all those notes and writings about the story and the artwork. And if you're a fan of Alex Ross and fan of Fantastic Four, this is going to be a book you want to pick up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the whole thing broken down. That's pretty badass.
For it to be like, I didn't do the math on it, but like what, 3-4 times thicker of just extra content, not even the story. That's wild.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that's coming out.
There's some other stuff that just released this week. I know one that I'm going to be running out and getting because I loved it. Batwoman Elegy. They dropped a trade paperback for that, $20. The Green Lantern
Compact Comics,
Just
isn't
like-
it?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I figured I was like that'd be like the 20th printing.
Right.
Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes Omnibus comes out. That's $125.
It looks so good.
Yes, it does.
Only $1.25?
$125. Robin, Son of Batman by Patrick Gleason Deluxe Edition. That's only $50. I was surprised. And a price that even surprises me even more, for $60, they've got the Wildcats Compendium Volume 1, which has Wildcats 0 through 15, Skips 14, 15 through 20, Team 1 Wildcats,
Cowards.
Team 1 Stormwatch, Wildcat Special, the trilogies 1 through 3, and source books 1 and 2. All of those
I know
except
why
for the
they're
one
not reprinting issue 14.
What happened in issue 14?
It's was it 1994? They did a thing called Image X Month where all the image creators swapped books. So instead of Jim Lee and Brandon Choi doing Wildcats, it was Eric Larson, which naturally meant there was going to be some crossover with the Savage Dragon, which is his baby.
So that's
obviously they can't really do that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really make sense. Although that's not necessarily, well, I don't know. I guess it's weird now because I was thinking like when they did the JLA Deluxe editions, they reprinted JLA Wildcats, and I mean I think that was probably, I mean they had acquired Wildstorm at the time, but they hadn't integrated them into the universe. So I don't know. I don't know why they're being shy about it, but
like the Savage Dragon is still owned by Image, right?
Well, owned by Eric Larson, published under Image.
Yeah, so that's like they created Dino Cop as
Savage Dragon analog.
As an analog for Savage Dragon. If they really want to do it, and I don't know, it's probably going to be a bad idea, but just fucking
swap it out.
Yeah, shop Dino Cop over Savage Dragon.
Also, that's ridiculous to me too, because if I remember correctly, issues 6 and 7 of Wildcats are part of the Killer Instinct crossover with Cyberforce. So unless they're not reprinting those issues too, then there's going to be a lot of content that's just missing.
0 through 20. How many were there? Well, this is only volume 1, so.
Yeah. But that should be, again, maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was issue 6 and issue 7. It had to be, because issue 5 was the prelude to Killer Instinct. It was the first issue Wildcats ever bought.
Well, there you go, dude. It's in there. 0 through 13 are included.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That seems weird to me that they wouldn't do 14. I don't know. Maybe Eric Larson doesn't want to reprint it or something.
Yeah, Cyberforce. So that was the top guy?
Yeah. Well, each image creator had their own respective studio. So
it would be owned by Mark Silvestri, realistically. Maybe he's just okay with it. I don't know.
Maybe, but I know they just put out the
permission from Eric Larson.
Maybe, but yeah, I was gonna say I know they just put out the Cyberforce Compendium, and I'm pretty sure that reprinted the Wildcats issues too. So that would be really weird.
Then it's got to come down to how much it costs with the licensing. Yeah. How much Larson wanted for it. Must have been a little bit too much.
That seems ridiculous that he would ask that much for. Anyway, I'm looking at it right now on Amazon, and the Killer Instinct crossover literally has Wildcats number 5 through 7 reprinted. So, I don't know. DC's tripping or something.
Like, how much work is Eric Larson doing right now?
Just Savage Dragon.
Yeah. So like, we all know by now, like, comic creators are basically starved for funds for the greater part of their lives. If they don't work a lot, they don't get the payment. And if all he's doing is Savage Dragon, like, it might all be he has time for, but it might not be enough to really live comfortably necessarily, right? So if he has this opportunity to make bank on a DC reprint, then I imagine you'd fucking go for it. But if they say no, like, maybe you should have dropped the price a little bit. But again, this is all speculation.
I don't know. It's only selling for $60, so it's not like gonna make anybody, it's not gonna be life-changing money. But regardless,
that's why my floppies.
Yeah.
Apart from any other news, that's about it. The only other thing I wanted to bring up, we can bring it up after, is the whole slew of new universes that are coming out right now that are well underway between Marvel, DC, and fucking, oh my god, the hell's the Energon universe brand another Image?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Skybound,
which is under Image. Yeah.
Under Image. Yeah. So we could do like a little I was gonna say retrospective, but more of like a rerun on what's going on with these universes and just see what we like about them so far. Seeing as we only have the 2 books to cover this week, so we can get started on the books.
That sounds good. Let me hit these honorable mentions real quick. We'll pop a commercial in and pop one back out and come back and knock these books out, eh?
Right on.
Alrighty, gonna try something a little different this week. But with our honorable mentions, Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, #2. I'm really surprised. This is good. A lot of people dead and more on the way. I'm having a way better time with this than my stoic "don't mess with the classics" opinion should allow me to, but here we are. 8 out of 10. It's really good. The Nice House by the Sea, #4. We find out why Walter left the door open between the houses, and it's not good for anyone. 8.5 out of 10. The Penguin Special, #1. It's a disturbingly creepy first story from Jeremy Adams, Howard Porter, HIFI and Troy Peteri that really leans into the sadistic side of the Penguin. There's a classic Silver Age tale, a Secret Origins Penguin special from 1989, and Joker's Asylum featuring the Penguin. All of some of the best Penguin stories that are out there. That's obviously not going to be a super thick book. 8 out of 10. Wonder Woman Uncovered #1, just like all the rest of the Uncovered series. Mountains of Beautiful Art. It's worth a 9 out of 10 for sure. And then we have Multiverses Collision Detected #4. And I usually tell you what Dash says, but now Dash is going to do it himself. He pre-recorded this. I hope it's not too loud.
Multiverses Collision Detective 4. It keeps being good even though everyone was chilling in an igloo. This issue, I think that everyone should have been wearing the coat costume or at least a jacket because Batman and Steven Universe and some others were not. The art is good, but sometimes it didn't feel finished. 8 out of 10.
All right. Okay. So he gave it an 8 out of 10.
Not out of 5?
No, he actually said he was
Damn.
going to start giving it out of 10 if he's going to be putting it on the podcast. So
Right on.
it's like, all right. All right. And then those are all the honorables worth mentioning. So I'm going to get us out of here for a commercial real quick, and we'll be right back. And we're right back.
Hey! Welcome back. Welcome back.
Jack.
Cotter.
I'm not that old.
Hey, I've seen Welcome Back, Kotter. Okay, if I've seen Welcome Back, Kotter, and I can reference Welcome Back, Kotter.
You didn't see it while it was on air.
No, well, I mean, I watched it on TV. That's what. Yeah, it's a rerun, but still.
That's like me saying that.
Night Court, the Green Hornet,
Night Court.
Night Court.
I fucking love Night Court as a kid, dude. I used to watch that shit religiously.
Yeah,
love that show.
John Larroquette, man.
Mm-hmm. And Harry
Anderson.
And, yeah. Oh God, he was good.
Yeah,
he was good. And then he had to go and die. Damn it!
What? Harry Anderson died?
Yeah, the guy that played him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I didn't think I knew that. Man, that sucks.
Yep. They even worked it in, like the reboot. They worked it into part of the storyline.
Damn.
What's that actor's name again?
Dave something. I think it was Dave. Pretty sure it was Dave. Something.
Yeah.
IMDb Night Court, and then it'll show you. So this.
Oh, Harry. No, the actor's name was Harry Anderson.
That's what I thought.
The judge was Harry Stone. That's why I was like, wait a minute. I thought that was his name. Yeah, but that was 6 years ago. Believe it or not.
Where the hell did I get Dave from?
I don't know. I think I know who you're thinking of, believe it or not. But I can't think of his last name.
I mean, surely I'm not mixing him up with Dave Coulier.
No, it's... Ah, shit. Dave.
Anybody that's in their 20s has no clue who it is that I'm talking about.
Not David
Sal. Say again.
Oh my god, it's gonna bug me so much. I can picture my dad had a book from him as well. I can picture the book, but I can't picture the last fucking name. Ah, my god.
We'll have to solve the mystery later.
Yep.
All right. Well, until we're able to do so, you want to kick us off with some action?
Sure thing.
Yeah?
Yes. Let me pull it up. I think I remember a show he was in too. I'll look it up later though. All right, so Action Comics number 1073, part 4 of Phantoms, week 4 of Phantoms, realistically. This is written by Mark Waid with art from Clayton Henry and Michael Shelfer, colors from Matt Herms, and letters from Dave Sharp, with the cover you see in front of you from Clayton Henry and Tomu Mori. So picking up kind of where we left off last week, we do actually open, I should say, with a brief look into the history of the Phantom Zone and Jor-El's exploration of it. But then we pick up where we left off with Superman on, Zadu's ship with Mon-El and his crew, as he does a bit of exposition about Mon-El and the crew and where they stand with him at the time being. But then they are interrupted by a new ship, basically a flying battleship, complete with eyeballs. Pretty cool looking battleship, too. It is a pretty cool looking battleship. And this one is helmed by Zadu himself. Yet again, it was gifted to him by Aether, and this ship is definitely a lot more powerful and a lot more armored than his previous ship, the one that Superman and Mon-El are currently on. So Superman flies off and tries to intercept the shells that are being bombarded towards the ship his compatriots are on, except every hit he takes depletes a bit of his solar batteries. And so the point he decides he needs to do just one big hit, flies super fast directly into the ship, and it blows up. We then jump over to wherever the hell Superboy and Superman have ended up.
I mean, they tell
Especially
you.
Connor and Kong. Well, they say meanwhile somewhere in space.
It's the Ziphoan intergalactic exposition.
Yeah.
Mm.
They have ended up in an exhibit, which is a collection of various artifacts from alien species all over the galaxy, supposedly on the up and up. But obviously, Connor and Kong Kanan have an issue with the fact that these were taken against Superman's will, and they actually belong to somebody. However, they are told that they could look around and even enjoy a 10% discount in the gift shop, have a complimentary browse, and then return to their case. With nothing actually resolved, they now have to figure out what the fuck is going to happen next. As Kong Keenan puts it, they're essentially in the Royal Museum of Space.
Dun, dun,
Basically,
dun.
when you get to that part, it's now for something completely different. At least so far. Back in the zone, and I'm not talking about mid-90s YTV in Canada.
AutoZone.
AutoZone. I don't remember the rest of the slogan. Superman has blown up the enemy ship, and knowing that his battery is basically completely drained, he's going to retreat tactically, pulls out the button that will bring him back home, except Zadu shoots it out of his hand and destroys it. But in comes Mon-El with the other solar battery, as Superman had given him one, and he only had one on his wrist. His other wrist is barren. He gave it to Mon-El, and Mon-El used it to have powers again, punch the shit out of Zadu, and this is when Aether shows up. Says that Zadu failed him, and then banishes him into some void within the void that is the Phantom Zone. Kind of wild. Superman did not like that, gets in Aether's face, and then Aether grabs him. Superman does not have enough power to escape his grip because this man is gigantic, and also sends him into this void, spiraling into nowhere. But Superman can see cracks within this void, and in these cracks he sees portions of time in the real world. As he's hurtling backwards in time, he's trying whatever he can to grab on to something where he can smash through the wall and make it into reality, basically. And then he's able to grab a foothold, smash through the wall, and ends up in basically not Earth, but he's on Krypton.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
Whoa.
not fucking good. And next issue, The Secret of Jor-El. I'll jump right into the backup. It's very, very quick. Supergirl in the Loop Part 4. Written by Mariko Tamaki with art from Skylar Patridge, colors from Marissa Louise, and letters from Becca Carey. We see a mysterious hooded and masked figure talking about being alone and having only memories of life and the end of life, but also seeing visions of Supergirl's life. And then somewhere in the galaxy, we see Supergirl with one of the robots from the prison, along with her flying through space towards where the prisoner is located. The robot then waits for a mission to present itself to it, and then Supergirl gets out to this prison, which is essentially just a tiny glowing orb, not even bigger than a house. Inserts the key into the lock, opens the lock, and then meets the prisoner, who was still masked, but then a giant ship appears, and that's where it ends from there. That backup, this whole story is just kind of like, I get it's a backup, but unlike other backups, there's just not much substance in each part. It really doesn't feel like it. Like I'm just craving more story in each portion. It feels like we're 4 parts deep, and I feel like we haven't even gotten half an issue yet. It feels like it's only like 5 to 10 pages into the story. It's really weird.
Well, see, I think that feeling is intentional. It's for all intents and purposes, it's Action Comics Weekly now.
Yeah.
And like I've been saying, and it's been a boon for me, it feels like I'm reading a Sunday comic strip almost, just like a really, really good one. So I expect it to come in this incremental pace. I'm with you. I wish that they didn't have to split the page count with this AEW backup. I would love to have more of the, not because I'm shit talking AEW, but just because both of these stores. Yeah, I wish both of these stores had more to them too. But you know, with what they've got and what they're doing with them, I don't have a problem with the plot pacing, not yet anyway.
And admit it, Josh, you're only talking about it this week because Orange Cassidy is the backup. No, so it's an interesting connection you make, the reference to like Sunday comic strips, because honestly, when you say that, I'm thinking I get more substance out of Doonesbury on a Sunday morning than I feel like I have.
Oh my!
Yeah, out of this Supergirl backup each week. I'm not trying to bag on the story. I think it's an interesting story. I'm just craving more out of each part. I think it's. I feel like we really haven't gotten anywhere in the story.
I can see the slow pace of the plot developing in the first one to be a bit of an annoyance. I think that the backup, I mean, it's obviously from the first panel, it's been set up to be a mystery. So finding out what's going and all these little different things that are popping in that are all seem to be big. I mean, obviously there's going to be a final culmination where all of these things come together. For all the things that are aggravating you about this book are things that I'm enjoying. Well,
that's the thing about the mystery, though. And Brandon, you might have to refresh my memory here. Who it was that said that when you're writing, it might have been Jeremy Adams that actually quoted it, that when you're writing a mystery, you need to leave breadcrumbs for your reader to follow through the story and help the reader try and piece it themselves together throughout the story before you make the big reveal. You don't want to just hide everything, the entire story, and then just have a big reveal and then just feels like a cheap throwaway. And so far this is what I'm getting from it. We're 4 parts deep. It's small backup stories, but throughout the mystery, there's no hints at anything. There's no teases towards the mystery. There's no notions or breadcrumbs for you to follow to like try and figure shit out. You have Supergirl duck, dodges, and dives everybody on Earth to get into outer space.
Whoa.
Yeah, right, Brandon?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. That sounded nasty for a second.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. And then you have Supergirl fighting a whole bunch of Spider Guild, and then the judge dies, and then she heads off into space again to find this prisoner, and that we've had no hints towards what the actual mystery is. Still 4 parts in, it's
the mystery is.
I feel like we need to have a bit more.
The mystery is what in the hell is going on. Supergirl's been tasked to do this one particular job with no details given. She gets there and the job is changed with absolutely no details given. She's able to track down where this prisoner is. She gets there and this other big ass ship shows up. So as far as Supergirl's part is done, I mean that's where we're at. But she's caught in a what in the fuck kind of storyline here, and she's just diving headfirst and doing it. The big mystery to me is on top of why is everything being kept from Kara. The prisoner says that she is linked to the prisoner somehow in the future, I mean, that is a big part of the mystery too. Like, who the hell is this prisoner that has no idea who they are, what they are, or why they just keep having this fucking memory loop playing over and over in their head.
So I want to ask, because I did get a bit of a vibe in this issue, this part of the story, and this might be the backup thing. I mean the breadcrumb thing I'm asking for. Like you said, no details given. That's ultimately the problem I'm having. There's no fucking details given. But is there a chance this mystery prisoner is Matrix Supergirl?
Whoa. That's crazy.
Did you guys get that vibe at all?
The thought never crossed my mind at all, but oh wow. Man, would that be something? We get rid of the whole Power Girl and Supergirl are too close. Let's get them distinct identities, and then they bring back Matrix.
Yeah, right? Like, we can't have Supergirl exist without a struggle of identity. So you give one a proper identity, you got to give the other one a struggle. I don't know. Yeah. Brandon, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure where this mystery is going. I think I'm kind of just along for the ride. I'm not really questioning it too much. I'm focused more on, I guess the introspection of like, you know, why is this mission so important to Supergirl, and why is it, you know, why is she keeping such a lock on who this prisoner is and all that stuff like that. I know it's not really giving us any breadcrumbs or any kind of clues as to what it is, but I kind of like the ambiguity of it. That's sort of what's keeping me interested. I'm hoping the payoff is satisfying, but
Yeah, that's
for now
the
it's just
kicker.
like, I mean, there's such weight given to this mysterious prisoner that I like we have no clue what it could be, but you know, you have to really kind of keep following it to find out. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Fair.
at best, all we know is whatever the prisoner is, it's humanoid and it has thoughts and feelings. That's pretty much it. I'm actually I'm actually enjoying the backup more than I am the main story. I really don't have a problem with the first one either. I just the Supergirl one is more interesting to me. They both look good. Yeah, oh, and well, I mean, I've already mentioned how I like it coming out weekly. It feels like it's got that weekly thing to it. Just
Yeah.
feels right. I think Wade is doing good in the story. But I mentioned the art here a second ago, and I open this up and I see Jor-El, and I see a Jor-El that looks like he's Clark's dad, and that so rarely happens to me. It just because that looks like it could be Clark's dad, and then on top of that, they gave him the eradicated glasses, and it made it even better for me. I thought that the art, the way they made Jor-El look was fantastic. I dug the whole thing. 8.5 out of 10.
I pretty much 100% agree. The designs in the artwork this issue with the main story were really good. It's the ones that were new for this issue anyway.
Right.
The story is really interesting. I'm curious if there's going to be a connection at all between what's going on with Superboy and Kong Kanan. Superman, as Connor says, you can't pronounce the hyphen, so who knows how Kong
Super
Kanan
hyphen
is
man.
saying it.
He's just pausing.
Yeah.
Superman.
Superman. So this is all yours. No,
Not Superman. I'm not Superman. I'm
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah. The art, I think, was really good throughout. I'm really digging the story. Oddly enough, I like the art more in there were two artists. I thought they were just sharing the art, but no, I guess the Superboy and Superman portion is a different artist, I guess. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I like the art more in the Phantom Zone portion of the story than the somewhere in space portion of the story. But I do like it all throughout. It's been interesting.
Clayton Henry is your man then.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole thing with the Phantom Zone, I've always found the Phantom Zone an interesting plot device, realistically, and giving it a bit more substance, quote unquote, pun intended, kind of deal here is really interesting, and kind of giving more weight to how the Phantom Zone has evolved over the years, over the writers, over the creative teams, and how there's been land all of a sudden, and it's finally given an explanation. I like that Mark Waid has given us that. So yeah, I will also say 8.5 for this whole issue.
Nice. Yeah, no, 8.25 for me. Still really dug the Supergirl chapter a little bit more than the main chapter this week, but the main chapter is ramping up, and that's one hell of a cliffhanger. So I'm excited to see what the hell Superman's going to get up to on Krypton, and what exactly this version of Krypton is even going to look like. Is it going to be, one that he maybe knows a little bit more? Is it going to be like the distant Krypton that we saw in previous iterations? Who knows? So excited to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We know for sure Jor-El is going to be there. I thought it was really interesting that there was grass there, because they've always portrayed Krypton as like a super futuristic city with equal parts rocky terrain and high rises made out of Coruscant. Whoa. And nothing in between, and then all of a sudden there's like a grassy field, and okay, that's new. At least as far as I know. I don't think I've ever seen grass on Krypton.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't even think of that, but you are 100% right, sir.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm gonna take us on over to the other side, the green side.
Green side.
Okay, fine. I will. Poison Ivy Swamp Thing, Feral Trees #1, written by Glorious Willow Wilson, with art by Mike Perkins and colors from Mike Spicer, with lettering from Hassan Atsmani Alhau, and a cover from Jason Sean Alexander, which is awesome. But I would have loved to see what it would have looked like if Jessica Fong drew that picture and he drew the cover that Jessica Fong did. I want to see him swap pictures that they drew.
Can I just say before you get started, what a fucking creative team for a Poison Ivy Swamp Thing special.
That's what it's the team I've been asking for a while. I said I wanted them to do the Parliament book, but I'll take a Swampy crossover. I'm good. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Is this
Ashley Wood and Clayton Crane kick ass too, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to finish the whole issue, but is this like tying into the arc, or is this just kind of a standalone story?
This is a standalone story.
Oh, okay, love that.
But,
yeah, I wish DC would do more of those. They had a ton of like the Prestige format team ups in the '80s, or just be like, Batman, Green Arrow, random one shot written by Denny O'Neil, where they team up to fight Poison Ivy, and it's like, I wish they'd do more of that,
right?
Where you can just have random team ups and just have a one and done story, do something really fun.
There we go. There's the cover. I wish I should have snatched up some images of the variant covers. Man, they were all so good. There was like 4 of them. Anyway, all right. So this is a dense story. It's a good one. I'm gonna walk you through it. because I thought, damn. Anyway, the issue starts off northwest of Gotham in January. It's cold as hell. A man's walking his dog out in the woods. The dog starts barking and then runs off. He chases off after the dog and finds the dog's collar bloody, and then he freaks out, but only for a second, because he immediately gets ran through by a branch, hitting so hard it knocks him out of his shoes. Meanwhile, back in the apartment of Gotham's favorite couple, Harley and Ivy lay asleep, cuddled up. In the marshlands of Gotham, cuddled up to some moss, we see Swamp Thing. Captions running from Poison Ivy, and Swamp Thing paints two different ways to look at the same portrait. Collectively, their thoughts are saying everything is living and we are all connected to everything else, and the living are all marching toward their way toward death, one footstep at a time. So, happy thoughts. We see the connection apparent between Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy, as they are both pulled to the woods in connection with that man from earlier, who happens to be the fifth person to disappear in Crest Hill Woods recently, with no body found. It's in the middle of the night, and Ivy is realizing that she probably should have thought this through a bit, so she pulls on the green for a charge to make herself feel a little bit more secure, and then they meet. Swamp Thing knows Ivy, but for some reason can't remember much, but given his current state of, whether or not he's fully Swamp Thing and fully there, I can understand that. One thing is for sure, while the trees should be silent and sleeping, they are sobbing and loudly, which is what pulled them there, and they're not the only ones that got summoned. They quickly find blood with no body, a clear sign something is afoul, and Ivy can sense that there is a mind in the forest that doesn't quite belong there. Driven deeper into the woods, they decide to ask the trees to show them what's going on, and soon enough a body is revealed. Ivy gets closer, and then she's pulled into the tree and beyond. Swamp Thing commands the trees to release her, but it won't listen. The trees have been driven mad. When she lands, she's surrounded by bodies killed by the trees, all pulled to this place below the soil. For those who aren't aware, the Kettle Hole Devil is a member of the Parliament of Trees that taught Swamp Thing how to hone his powers, though I thought he was dead, and Swamp Thing did too. There's something in the middle of the forest. It's dying. It's driving the trees crazy, and they're acting out, trying to protect it, and acting out because of how pissed off they are that it's dying. The devil and Swamp Thing are grabbed and held onto by the roots of the trees, and they can't hurt the roots without killing the trees, so Ivy connects with the system and releases a pheromone that makes them release them, and when she does, she sees an image of a young girl. They climb out of the hole, Ivy asking about the girl, but nobody knows. As Kettlehorn Devil leaves, he tells Ivy he will see her again after she becomes a little less hasty. Swamp Thing tells her that he means that he thinks she'll be headed to the Parliaments one day. Excuse me. As they walk along, engrossed in conversation about how Ivy's point of view that humanity is a part of planet Earth and the whole planet is what she wants to save, that's how she's limited in her connection to the green. She won't become fully connected until she gives that humanity up completely. They look around and they see a labyrinth has sprung up around them and then divided them, a mass of trees and roots. Swamp Thing gets another cameo from Jack and the Green before we see Ivy meeting someone as well. The Hill, a member of the Parliament of Trees as well, that I don't think existed before, but this could be a new take on the Heap, which would be an improvement. And she is pulled into the green again. She sees a vision of the girl, Paula, this time knowing that the girl has command of the green as she does. Her dad was abusive, and she ran away to Gotham eventually, and then lived on the streets and started using heroin. When winter came, she went into the woods, as the things that grew were always there for her. Excuse me. Don't start smoking, kids. She goes into the woods so that because she knew that things that grow were always there for her. Ivy runs to Swamp Thing, but with nothing but saving the girl on her mind. Even as Jack of the Green bows out, they fight through the forest and finally make their way to her. It's been a crazy battle, and she's still alive, but barely. Ivy can't wake her up, though. She's very high and near death. Ivy holds Paula as her life slips away in front of her, and it makes her anger boil that someone like them, that someone at all, was poor or hungry and homeless and dying while billionaires sat snugly in their mansions. Swamp Thing explains that she sees things all wrong. She was never all alone, and she came home to die. Everything is as it should be, and then he takes a beat to explain that this experience here that happened shows that Ivy's not fully committed to the green, or else she would have been content to let all of this play out as nature intended instead of fighting against it. Jesus.
Don't smoke, kids.
Yeah, don't smoke, kids. And the heavy-handed in the lecture department, but I think it was a hell of a lesson for Ivy to learn. I think it was creepy. I think it made a lot of sense. This girl connected to the green got hooked on something from humanity, and now it's sitting there dying a horrible death. And it's with her connected to the green green feels it too, and is mourning her loss and is righteously pissed off. It was just, I think it was done so good. Good bit of mystery kept me intrigued and wondering, what the hell is going on. I like her voice for Swamp Thing almost as much as I like her voice for Ivy. And I think I could pick Perkins' art out of a lineup. The Perkins and Spicer combo is one that I will never, ever, ever get sick of. I love this book. I wish this was something that was going to keep coming. Like seeing the Parliament members here show up in response to something like this going on, I thought was really cool. I have complete faith in Wilson that she could pull off a Parliament story. And at this point, I have a hard time believing she doesn't have one or two cooked up already in her head. I love this little corner of the DC universe. 8.75 out of 10.
While I have not finished the whole issue yet, I can do nothing but 100% agree with you. I would love to see G. Willow Wilson take a tackle at the entire Parliament section. And yeah, like you said, at least from what I've read so far, she'd set up quite a good bit already. Just showcasing some knowledge about it. So let's fucking go. Let's get it going. Maybe get some Buddy Baker in there, get the Parliament of Gears, because that was an interesting little thing.
She's almost like the I'd specifically like to see her tackle the Parliament of Trees at first and then let the Parliaments grow from there.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, so good.
Mm-hmm. How would you compare it so far to Jeff Lemire?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Her Swamp Thing to Jeff Lemire's Swamp Thing?
Oh no, her like style with the Parliament so far.
Oh, I mean, she hasn't done a whole lot enough for me to be able to compare that to
Fair
Lemire.
enough,
I mean, Lemire's
fair enough. Yeah,
holy crap,
he did a whole lot. Yeah.
I would love somebody needs to pick it up. Somebody needs to keep it up and go with it. And hopefully with this whole Vertigo Black Label stuff coming, we'll have more books like that. Make Daddy happy.
Imagine a Vertigo Poison Ivy book. It'd be fucking wild.
I'm telling you, I would take a G. Willow Wilson, John Ridley-esque take on the Parliament of Trees, like an environmental edition. Mm-hmm. Just that kind of heavy hitting, hard, say what you're trying to say right there in the fucking story kind of delivery. And man, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. So like I said, I haven't finished the issue, but from what I have seen, I'll give it a solid 8.75.
Nice. Yeah, no, I still need to finish this one. I'm also a little unclear if this is still the Levi Kamei Swamp Thing, or if this is, because I know I don't really know what's going on, to be honest, because I know we saw that there were two Swamp Things existing simultaneously in Dark Crisis. But the last time I can remember seeing Levi Kamei was in Titans, and I don't really remember seeing Alec Holland beyond that. So
I mean, in Titans, he was just Swamp Thing. Was Levi?
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm a little, but they also kind of established in Braun v Swamp Thing that the Green is a nexus of memories, so he would have access to Alec Holland's past just as much as he would have access to any of the old avatars of the Green's past.
Which is okay. So then that makes sense. Okay, all of that just clicked in my fucking head, and that is, oh, that's awesome. Okay, so when she was like, "Do you remember me? Are you pretending like you don't remember? Do you not remember me? Do you not remember the last time we met?" And like she asked like 4 or 5 questions real fast like that, and he says yes to all of them. It's because it is Levi here, and he's got Swamp Thing memories, but he doesn't like really know her.
Yeah.
So
well, I guess I was
that
also confused.
now that interaction makes sense to me.
Okay.
Right, because I mean maybe it's just Perkins, which is weird because Perkins drew the Swamp Thing, but this design looked more like the Alec Holland, more beset design of Swamp Thing than the design that he did for Levi Kamei. I'll have to double check that though, but it didn't really look exactly like the one that he kind of drew in the Swamp Thing. But I mean, aside from that, no, it's just really great writing. And like I said, I love, I mean, a team up between Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing, I feel like was inevitable with how much they've been playing up Pam's connection to the Green. But it's nice that they can kind of just, it doesn't have to be like this big arc or anything. It could just be a nice one and done story,
right, where they both happen to, yep, they both happen to get pulled to the same place at the same time. It's not always going to happen. I dig it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Little tiny seeds planted that eventually Poison Ivy's going to be a member of the Parliament of Trees.
Oh God! Take my money.
You want to talk about an old lady Harley story? Let's do that.
All right.
Oh, that would be so sick.
Right. So, with that, that's basically all the books we have for this week. We're just at about an hour. Do you guys want to talk about the multiverse?
We can. Let's finish up the thing here or else I will forget. And then we'll jump into anything else after that.
Okay.
I wanted or else I'll forget top 3 and all of that.
I mean, we had. I was gonna say we only had 2 books, but no, there's more.
There's honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
You guys don't have to have a top 3. I do. Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees is in first place, followed by Action Comics 1073, and third place went to Nice House by the Sea. There was a lot of good books this week, though, and my favorite moment, as horrible as it sounds, is at the very end of Feral Trees, where Paula, the girl with the connection to the Green, dies. That rough, hard-hitting lesson Poison Ivy has to learn. She hasn't picked the side she thought she has, so it's a bit of an identity-forming moment. I thought that was a hell of a moment this week. That one's my favorite one, as bad as it sounds that somebody died.
Yeah.
But which ones did you guys? Well, obviously you read one book all the way.
Yeah. I don't really have a top 3, but I could say my favorite moment was Kong Kanan trying to say super hyphen man, and you can't pronounce the hyphen, dude. Stop trying. Yeah, that was a nice little bit of levity.
Yeah. No, I'd say I also don't really have enough to qualify a top 3, but my favorite moment was definitely the final page of the main story of Action Comics. Just that really gorgeous shot of Superman looking up at Krypton, and then also the reveal where he's like, "Oh, I'm on Krypton." I thought that was very, very well done.
I almost wanted to pick that one. I almost did. I was flipping back and forth. I'm like, is it Superman unexpectedly arriving on his home planet, or is it this poor girl I don't know dying? Which one do I like more?
Yeah. That would have been an up there moment for me if it wasn't for the fact that it's more of an oh fuck moment rather than like excitement.
More like now
Yeah.
what?
Like, well, how's he gonna get out of this one? Like, it's cool. He's gonna meet his family again, but shit, he's kind of stuck here.
All right. All right. So next week we've got a bit of a bigger week than we did this week. Batman 154, Absolute Superman #1's coming out.
Hell yeah.
Action Comics 1074. We've got the Green Arrow Annual. Poison Ivy #27, Birds of Prey 15, Batgirl #1, Shazam #17, and JSA #1. And then those are probably going to be the ones that we are covering. And then we've also got Plastic Man No More #3, which, oh my God, I can't wait to get my hands on that. My Adventures with Superman, DC Horror Presents Creature Commandos #2, the Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries, Little Batman Month, God, I can't talk. Little Batman Month 1 #1. Did either one of you guys ever get a peek at Merry Little Batman?
No.
Well, this is the sequel to it. Oh, it's great. And also, yeah, like I said before, the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes Omnibus is coming. So I'm surprised that's not. I'd be surprised if you guys don't put that in your own Christmas stocking this year.
I would, but I still have my my floppies of the 1983 reprint, and I'm never giving those up.
Oh, not if you have the original freaking floppies. Why would you?
Well, no, not they did a prestige reprint in 1983 of the 1970 to 1971 original series, and those ones are really nice, and they have like letters from some of the people who were around at the time, just like talking about the series. So it's good stuff.
Right on.
I, however, will be putting it in my own stocking because nobody else is going to spend that much money for me.
Heard.
On one book. I'm the only one that will spend that much money on a single book for myself. If my wife thinks it's weird that I spend $20 on a comic book, like a single issue, there's no way she's buying that book for me.
Yeah, it's a Josh said it was $1.25, baby.
Yeah. I don't know how the decimal point got there.
It's a Flint math.
Yeah. It's Flint math.
It's Flint math.
All right. So, the multiverse.
Dun, dun.
We've, over the past couple of years, had so many new universes pop up. The return of the Ultimate Universe, the dawn of the Absolute Universe, and the rise of the Energon Universe are definitely the three biggest. Let me help you there, Josh. It's not quite what I wanted to do, but
no,
what are you doing?
I'm getting there. Trying to get rid of something. There we go. Those are the ones. Aha.
There it
Perfect.
is. There it is.
Excellent.
Yeah, so the rise of the Energon universe, these are the three biggest universes to come out in the past few years. And honestly, in varying levels of depth right now. We're just over a year into the Energon universe. We're just under a year into the second run of the Ultimate Universe. And we are like 2 weeks into the dawn of the Absolute Universe. But I want to pick you guys' brains about where we all stand on the three right now and what your thoughts are so far on where we've been with them and where do you think the future might go, and what are you most excited about and what have you most been excited about so far? Absolute Universe, we could knock right off the list right away because we've only had 2 fucking issues of Absolute. One of Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman coming next week. I'll say I'm cautiously optimistic about it so far, just with what we've had. I think it's been an interesting setup. Absolute Batman was surprisingly more interesting than I thought it would be, and Absolute Wonder Woman was just as interesting as I thought it would be. I have high hopes for Absolute Superman at this point, I'm going to be honest. I'm excited to see where this all goes.
With okay, Absolute Wonder Woman was awesome.
Yeah.
Like hands down. I thought that was great. I can't wait to see where it's headed. Absolute Superman, it's definitely got me curious. That's about all that I can say about it so far. It was curious. Absolute Batman, I went in with my doubts and I left, like I said when we reviewed that. I still don't know if I like this or not. The idea is cool, kind of flipping everything on its head, but it's like literally everything is flipped on its head. He's best friends with all of his worst enemies so to speak.
And he's enemies with some of his best friends.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I mean, the one person that wants to kill him more than anybody is Alfred. You know, everything is the exact opposite to like what kind of degree is it going to be kept up just to keep the story going. I don't know if I like it or not. I'm definitely not yet sold on the costume, in any way, shape, or form. It makes zero sense to me whatsoever. But as far as the story goes, I'm still not sure if I like it yet or not.
Fair enough. Like thinking about it now that we're almost
weird
a month
for me to say about a
after it,
Snyder book.
You know, it's almost like they gave him the Spider-Man treatment of a younger Bruce Wayne having a defining moment in a younger fashion where he developed that sense of heroism. He still has one parental figure, and he's just struggling to make ends meet to a certain degree, but also fighting crime at the same time with that sense of justice out of somber duty. But he has his friends along the way to help guide him, hopefully in the right direction. It feels more like a Spider-Man story than it does a Batman story now that I think about it. It's kind of interesting where even Alfred is kind of like a G.I. Joe J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a yeah, damn. You're kind of right there.
Yeah. Like it's an interesting dynamic for Batman that I honestly don't think has been really explored. And now that we're a few weeks out of it, and I'm going back and thinking about it again, like okay, maybe there's something here that could be very interesting if it's explored the right way. But hell, who knows what the right way is right now? I honestly think it's going to come across way better than anybody might expect.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I hope so.
Fingers crossed. I just there's only one way to find out, you know, and the big thing about it is in order to bring Darkseid back, they've got to stick it out long enough and make it work long enough, you know, for the story to make sense. So like they've made this decision, and I mean that's why they're calling it All In, because they've got no choice but to ride the whole fucking thing out if it flubs.
Yeah.
Because they took Darkseid right out of this universe and said, you know, that's it. They've got to bring him back somehow.
Yeah. I mean, if they even have to. How many times have they killed Darkseid?
That's the thing, is that this is like Darkseid can't die. He just respawns. He's a part of the source wall. I mean, without Darkseid, there is no reality.
Yeah. It's doozy of a story. That's
right?
I'm sure.
Where do you? I can't remember, Brandon. Where do you lay with the whole Absolute universe so far, man?
I still think it's a very interesting concept. The whole Omega affected Elseworld that has now made the hero's conditions a little bit harsher, and so now it's kind of like for them to be truly heroic, they really have to go a little bit harder with their efforts. So I like that idea, and I do like I mean, from what I've seen of the first two issues of Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman, I do enjoy it so far. I know there's been a lot of frustration over the costume and some of the characterization, but I'm willing to overlook that because I'm not really too concerned about Snyder said this or they're trying to do that. My interest is just, well, what about this approach is different, and what about this is interesting enough to distinguish it from, you know, the Batman that we're reading in the main continuity. So for that, I'm just willing to kind of go along and see what they have in store. I'm not really too worried about, you know, how is his mission all that different from, you know, I don't know, but I guess, yeah, my main thing is like I'm not all that upset with what I've seen so far, so I'm kind of willing to just follow what they have in store and see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck there without an option. I was like,
Yeah.
I think I like this. I can't tell if I like this. I might like this. I don't know if I like this. It's
Yeah.
not a fan of the costume.
Like I said
story.
before, we're like only
that's
a
not gonna be
few
something I
weeks
die on.
into the whole universe, right? So it's a kind of turn off, you stupid. Oh my god, thank you. Yeah, it's like we're only a few weeks into the whole bloody universe, so it's going to take some time for us to really get a good grasp on whether or not this is a good initiative or not. Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. We'll sit in, enjoy the ride while it lasts, and see if the ride was any good.
I mean, I really hope it's good because it's here regardless.
Yeah. I think that personally, I'm still a little cautiously, but mostly optimistic about it right now. I was on the fence before, but now I'm a little more optimistic about where it's going and what it is. I think it could be something good. All right, Ultimate Universe. I just this week caught up to what I was behind on. I was behind on Black Panther, and I read this week's X-Men. Josh, from what I understand, I think you're still behind on some Ultimate stuff, so we'll try not to spoil anything. Brendan, where are you at with the Ultimate Universe? Are you caught up? Or are you still
the only two titles I've kind of fallen behind on are Black Panther and X-Men, but I'll catch up to them at some point. I'm not super far behind.
Right on.
A couple issues, but Ultimate Spider-Man and the Ultimates I'm still up to date on.
Right on. I was really hoping you guys would be caught up to Black Panther because they had a bit of a reveal in the latest issue with a new Ultimate character.
Oh no!
That I think I know who it is. They're still keeping hush hush on who it actually is, but it is a new version of an existing Marvel character, and I think I know who it is, and I haven't seen anybody online point out what I've seen. But I won't say anything until you guys have read it. I think it's issue 9 was the latest. What issue are you at, Josh, with Ultimate Black Panther?
I have not read the most recent one.
Okay, so you're just like an issue behind.
Yes.
Okay. But you know they're looking
last
for
one is 8.
A certain character.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, they show that certain character, but they don't say the name. And when you get to it, we got to talk. Ultimate X-Men. Josh, I know you've said you haven't been too heavy on it. It's just not your kind of style that you really like. I can respect that. I understand that.
Unless that's the Peach Momoko one.
Peach Momoko, yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I just read.
It is
I haven't even started X Force yet, and I'm 4 issues behind on that.
right on. Yeah, it's heavily
I'm at
manga.
X Factor, 3 issues behind.
Yeah, X Factor. It is heavily a manga style book, like to a T. The only thing that's missing is reading it the other direction, basically. Um,
Pete Momoko's
I really
art
like
is flat out amazing.
Oh
I
god,
mean,
yeah,
I don't know if it's worth getting into a fist fight over, but
yeah,
it's awesome.
yeah.
I can't believe people did that shit, man.
Wait, what happened?
The fist fight over that Peach Momoko variant
Oh
cover.
yeah, it was a New York Comic Con, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, happens every year.
That's stupid.
It's
Yeah.
very stupid.
Where
I
are
say
you
for
at with Ultimate X-Men, Brandon?
I'm at like issue 6, I think.
So okay, so you're not too far behind.
No.
I think it's been an interesting little story so far. Realistically, in its own little corner of the Ultimate Universe, kind of telling its own thing, but ultimately, eventually going to tie into the larger Ultimate Universe. But I think for what it is, kind of introducing mutants in a new fashion, I think it's an interesting little story that takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of horror manga. And I almost want to say there's some Junji Ito inspiration in there.
Hmm.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys.
I'm sure there's some,
Yeah,
in aesthetic at least.
yeah. Um. Again, I'm trying not to give away too much. There's not been much more plot development, I'll say, in the latest, like the next 2 issues. But you get as much plot development as you have with the every issue so far. So, Josh,
Well,
you caught up on the others, or are you reading?
oh,
Where are you at in total on the Ultimate Universe?
whoa. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Random muscle spasm almost sent the whole thing crashing.
Shit, yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Whew. I saw my whole PC flash before my eyes. I'm reading. I've got 1 issue to go. Ultimate Black Panther. I have 1 issue behind on Ultimate Spider-Man, and I think that's the only Ultimate books that I am currently reading.
Oh, okay, so you're not reading Ultimates.
No, I haven't started picking up on that one yet. I know you
Okay.
guys have been talking about it, and honestly, by the time I get to read it, I'm not going to remember what you say today. So by all means,
Fair enough.
because it's not something I'm focusing on, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
remember that shit. It's
Fair
not
enough.
happening. Feel free.
It's Ultimates is kind of an interesting little series anyway, where like each issue is its own story, and
Like every issue is a one shot.
to a certain degree, like there is it's still following an ongoing story of the Ultimates are building towards this battle against the Maker and his army, and it's all backdropped on the idea of Tony Stark wanting to take revenge against the Maker for making the world what he did and basically took away all the lives of people that made a difference in the world and wants to put an end to his tyranny. And in doing so, he discovered all these files of all these heroes, and the history's changed, and he's going out in the world and bringing everybody these powers again. And the Ultimates is him going out along with Ultimate Reed Richards, not the Maker, 6160 Reed Richards to build a team, build an army, basically a group to stand up against the Maker. And each issue is an introduction of a new character to add to the Ultimates roster.
And each one of those characters are eventually going to get their own book?
Not necessarily. It's really just introducing each member of the Ultimates in their own issue. While it is following that story of Tony Stark is building towards his army, you're just seeing the pieces fall into place with each issue. Like, we've seen Captain America, we've seen Hawkeye, we've seen...
Like how they started off doing the Fantastic Four books.
What? You lost me there. What do you mean?
When they brought it back and it was like, this issue is about Ben.
Oh, like the Ryan North. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like that. But, like, it's more like introducing each new member of the team. Right?
Right, instead of
so you're seeing you're seeing the Ultimates being built month by month. Where every other Ultimate book between Black Panther, X-Men, and Spider-Man are building this long-running story with these characters. Ultimates kind of just one shot after one shot after one shot while still building the story. It's a very interesting approach. It might be lower down on the tier list of the 4 books for me so far. I think for me, Ultimate Spider-Man is still at the top.
Yeah.
Which is still fantastic.
Spider-Man and Black Panther, man, both of those books are dope as fuck. What they've done with Spider-Man, the way that they've changed everything, I love what it's done to Peter. Yeah. I love how his family's pulled into the dynamic the way that it's been. Watching Harry go a little crazy has been cool. The dynamic between Uncle Ben and
Jonah
and Jonah Jameson, that's just been fucking great.
Yeah.
Everything that they've done in this book has been perfect. It's been awesome.
Oh god, yeah.
I have zero complaints with it. The one thing that I like that they've done in Black Panther is that they really haven't changed Black Panther so much as changed like everything around him.
Yeah.
And
he's still T'Challa through and through.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's probably the smartest play for that character, because it lets him, I mean, any other version of T'Challa is gonna be like insulting T'Challa, because T'Challa is just like this role model hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be like when they make Captain America go bad, it's just it never works out, right? It's never a good idea.
Yeah.
And T'Challa is better than Captain America, so I think that they didn't have any other choice if they were going to include Black Panther in the Ultimates universe. They have to change the world around him by changing Khonshu and Ra. I think that was such a cool idea to bring them against Wakanda. It made the story awesome. It's really, really good. I can't wait to see what continues to fucking happen with it. And Storm as well. Just the way that they've brought all of it in is just badass.
Like, looking at the big picture now, you start to see the pieces fall into place where the Maker's quote-unquote cabal, I'll call them the ultimate cabal for lack of a better term, because I don't remember what the fuck they actually call themselves. It's a whole bunch of leaders that have divvied the world up amongst themselves, and like Hulk controls Australia, Khonshu and Ra control Africa, Omega Red, Magic, and Colossus control Northern Asia and Europe. You got the Captain Britain, I think it is controlling Western Europe, and you're starting to see all the different heroes take center stage against these different generals, like Black Panther, of course, growing out of where he is in 616, being a global hero, being an Avenger, and being the hero and king of Wakanda. He's in the Ultimate Universe. He's more the hero of Africa, of the continent itself, and trying to save the entire fucking continent from the tyranny of Ra and Khonshu. And it's the same thing we're going to see in Ultimate X-Men, where eventually they're going to go up against, I think it's Viper. The Ultimates are starting to gear up to go up against Hulk. Spider-Man and Green Goblin are going to go up against Kingpin soon. And Ultimate Wolverine, when he shows up, he's going to be fighting up against Omega Red, Colossus, and Magic. So you're starting to see all the different pieces fall into place and see the armies divvy up and have the big battles for control of these territories. And it's all going to come to a head against the Maker in a big final showdown in a little over another year from now. That's like the one thing we know of the future, is that this is all coming down to a big confrontation against the Maker. It's just where everything will end up by then is the big mystery. But it's such a fascinating thing to see all these pieces start to fall into place. I think we're 9 months into it now. Wait, no, it started in January, right? No, so we're 10 months into it now. Nearing 11 months. And it's almost like a giant fucking chessboard. It's fascinating to see this all happen. And I think, and this is me just speculating, I don't know if you guys might feel the same way, I think we might see a good number, if not all, of the Maker's generals fall before the big confrontation.
Before the big confrontation?
Yeah, before the Maker comes out of his egg and goes up against the heroes that have spawned and says, "What the fuck are you doing in my world?" And they're like, "It's not your world, we took it back." And I think all the big generals are going to lose to the heroes before the Maker returns. That's what I think might happen.
Man, I haven't been reading enough of the books in order to. I don't have enough of the background of the Ultimates universe to know. Make a valid guess on that, but
I mean, when it comes to background, you know as much as anybody else does, because this is all we have. Right?
The Evil Maker did all the bad shit, reset everybody.
Yeah. I mean, if you read
some good guys are bad guys.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you read I don't remember what the fuck it's called now, Ultimate Invasion, the precursor series.
Yeah,
that basically gave you everything you need to know.
I think that's what I was thinking of as far as familiarity to it.
Yeah.
I probably should read more.
I mean, you're not missing too much. Check out.
I meant in general.
No.
I just picked up a couple of Dean Koontz books though, so.
Fair enough. What vibes are you getting from it, Brandon? If any.
What do you mean?
Like with the Ultimate Universe and where its future might lay. In terms of success, I'm going to say it's been a success. I think we can all agree on that, unless you have different ideas on that. But like, in terms of the stature of the story, do you think the stature has kind of lived up to the promise that was laid in the groundwork in Ultimate Invasion? And where do you think the future might hold for the heroes and the Maker's army?
I mean, I think the books succeed in exploring different corners of the Ultimate Universe without. I mean, obviously, I would say the Ultimates is probably the book that is, well, the Ultimates and definitely Ultimate Spider-Man. But I would say those two are definitely the books that feel most tied to the larger overarching story of, the threat of the Maker escaping from I forget what it was called, the city, I think it's just literally called The City.
Yeah.
In 18 months or whatever. And I appreciate, especially with the Ultimates, that it's been able to unpack all of the aspects of America that have been changed, by the maker's hand, and really kind of dealing with, well, obviously we want to change the world and make it better, but it has been so changed from what it was meant to be that, how do you fix that? How do you approach that? So they had the great issue where they go to the gamma affected island in the Pacific, or the issue where they introduce Hawkeye, and it kind of deals with the history of Roxxon and all that stuff. So yeah, I definitely think it's done a great job of setting the scene of what this Ultimate Universe looks like, and then once it all kind of converges, when the Maker is unleashed, it'll be interesting to see at what point the Ultimate Universe will be in, and maybe will they be prepared to take on the Maker by that point. So yeah, I think it's done a great job so far.
Yeah.
Man, Roxxon. I remember that shit from. It's like some kind of like evil corporation, right?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
I remember that they were like heavy behind something I read when I was younger in Marvel.
I mean, they were kind of all over the place, but
Was
I
it
think
like
they
Cloak and
started out in
Dagger?
Iron Man. I mean, they were heavily in Cloak and Dagger as well.
Mm.
Cool. Okay, that's probably what it was then.
My biggest question for the future, though, is when it comes to the Maker, we don't know what the hell he's doing inside the city. Obviously, there's no way for the people on the outside world to see inside, but we don't know if he's able to see outside. And on top of that, even if he isn't able to see outside, nobody knows what he's doing inside. So, being the futurist that he is, would he foresee all these heroes spawning and Tony Stark doing what he's doing, and especially after what they came to heads about at the end of Ultimate Invasion, before the Ultimate Universe really came to life? Is he going to be planning and preparing for a confrontation against all these potential heroes that will come up against him, and is he just going to fucking decimate them? Right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, where he's at right now is he's actually gathering all of the Infinity Stones so he can come back after all these heroes are getting all strong and shit, and just pop his head out of the pop his head out of the window and be like, "Ah, I fooled you, snap and dead."
Just pull an end game
Yep,
on the ultimate end game. Aye.
it's a drive-by. It's a drive-by snapping.
Mm.
Fuck, when I was going to high school, drive-by snapping was so much worse. You left
What?
alive, but hating your outfit.
Okay. That's worse than half of the existence getting populated, dispopulated. Poofed.
I mean, you could bring them back,
Maybe.
but you can't bring back your shame.
Can't bring back your shame. Why did
I mean,
you have shame to begin with?
You can't fix your shame. I mean,
Be proud of who you are.
yeah.
Be proud of how you dress.
Or
You made
this
you
is
made
high school.
decisions.
Yeah, I didn't come to terms with those decisions until I was an adult. All right, Ultimate Universe. I'll say it's a success so far.
Mm.
I think I'm very excited about the future. Energy.
even not being into the X-Men book, Spider-Man and Black Panther are just awesome, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely awesome.
solid fucking titles.
I regularly read a Marvel book, 2 of them.
Yeah, that's all we can ask for.
That's all.
Nice.
That's more than anybody ever thought would happen.
Yeah. Actually, one more question before we move on to the last universe. Is there any Ultimate book you'd want to see happen? We know Ultimate Wolverine is happening, but is there any other character you'd want to get their own little spin-off title, whether they've already appeared or not.
Maybe Ghost Rider or
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Punisher or something. I mean, they kind of hinted at a sort of Punisher revolution in the Ultimate, so
Yeah.
I'd want to either see that explored or, or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Ultimate Psylocke.
You need to read X-Men. That's all I'm going to say. Mutants are kind of hard right now because there's so many of them popping up in Ultimate X-Men.
An Ultimate X-Men or an X-Men?
Ultimate X-Men.
I need to read Ultimate X-Men to see
Yeah.
Psylocke?
Yeah, Psylocke has shown up.
As an adult?
Honestly, it's hard to tell. I think. I don't really know. But there's a lot of mutants popping up in Ultimate X-Men right now. There's a lot more have shown up. I mean, shit, I don't know. Ultimate Ghost Rider is a really good choice.
I guess I'm just wondering how the maker would have interfered with the lives of, Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch, and
Yeah.
what that might do to them, and how they might, try and either get their powers, or someone else would be a new Ghost Rider. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ultimate Nightcrawler, Ultimate Havoc.
Ultimates Heroes for Hire. Like, not heroes, like, I'm just saying the characters within Heroes for Hire, like Ultimate Power Man and Iron Fist, I think would be an interesting little thing right now.
Right. Like they were hired muscle or like bounty hunters or some shit.
Yeah. Like they take the gifts from Tony Stark and decide to profit off it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And they're more self-centered rather than wanting to help.
Ultimate Midnight Suns. I'm right. I'm piggybacking Brandon's idea. Ultimate Midnight Suns.
I was on the fence about it.
Ultimate Ghost Rider,
Blade,
Ultimate Mobius. What?
I was on the fence about saying Ultimate Blade, but I wasn't sure how well that would track with how the ongoing story is going.
Who cares? Ultimate
the rest,
Midnight Suns, like old school 90s Ultimate Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
I need that collected in a book so I can read it. I do.
Hell yeah.
Fuck.
All right, Energon Universe. We are a little over a year into that. We have Void Rivals, which so far is really just doing its own thing and setting up surprise reveals in other books coming later on, I imagine. But as of yet, like, it's still determined to see if it's going to have a larger connection to the rest of the books that are happening. We have Transformers going strong, staying strong. Has been a fan favorite since its debut. And we have the upcoming series G.I. Joe, which I think is coming next month, which is going to culminate all the miniseries that have spun out of Transformers. I think Destro still has one issue to go, and that's going to top off the miniseries leading into G.I. Joe as a whole. And that's going to be the Energon universe with 3 ongoings strong. Obviously, G.I. Joe we can't comment on yet. Josh, from what I remember, I don't think you've read all of the minis yet. I believe, Brandon, you're caught up on them, and I just got Destro to finish. We talked about the minis in length before, so I won't go too deep into each of those individually. But I want to ask, and Josh, you can comment on it as much as humanly possible for you right now. What hopes do we have?
I'm
for
listening
G.I.
to an
Joe?
Energon Universe podcast right now.
This one?
Yep.
What hopes do we have for the G.I. Joe ongoing? And how do we think is going to tie into the larger universe? Like, do you see the 3 books being their own contained thing, or is there going to be a larger crossover going forward?
I mean, I definitely get the sense that there's going to be a crossover at some point, just because they've been teasing it for a while. But
Yeah.
the nature of that is still a little unclear. And I mean, Void Rivals is, obviously hinted at connections to the Cybertronians and the
Yeah.
kind of mystery of the Agorians and Zertonians has some kind of connection to a Cybertronian, but obviously we don't know which. But I think last month's issue 13, was kind of the first one to directly tie into another series, because that was following up from the end of Cobra Commander, where Pythona and the rest of the Cobra La soldiers were going off into space to confront, what they viewed as the abominations, but the Cybertronians that had kind of infected their naturalist environment. So we finally got to see that perspective in Void Rivals 13. So it definitely seems like things are coming together. I'm sure G.I. Joe will probably just mostly be doing team establishment for its first arc and building up the thread of Cobra and Energon. But my guess is, what with Transformers kind of doing its own thing and still dealing with the fallout of the war on Cybertron and everything that's been happening on Earth since then, it probably will be a while before we see the Joes interact with the Decepticons and Autobots. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely see some kind of crossover between all 3 in the future, but still feels very much like stage setting right now.
Right on. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. It definitely feels like it's going to happen at some point. I wasn't sure if Void Rival was... I haven't read the latest issue yet, but I wasn't sure if Void Rivals was ever going to have a larger connection, but I completely forgot about that bit at the end of Cobra Commander with Cobra La going out into space to find their enemy. For it to happen in Void Rivals, like that answers one question I have, is if the events of Void Rivals is happening in real time, or is this an event that took place sometime in the past? But I guess that'll kind of connect a timeline for us.
Yeah, it seems like it's all kind of happening simultaneously.
Yeah. So I think
like the birth of Cobra alongside the birth of G.I. Joe, alongside the events of Transformers, in addition to everything that's happening or happened with Derek and Delilah and the Zertonians and Agorians, are all happening, around the same time.
Right. Because as of yet in Void Rivals, I think up until like the latest issue, the only connection we'd had between that and any other book was Jetfire in the first issue. And then he appeared later in Transformers, seemingly coming from that first issue of Void Rivals and then appearing on Earth.
I mean, there have been other, Transformers characters that have appeared since then.
But I don't think any that had appeared in Transformers ongoing.
No, it's mostly just cameos from characters that, would be familiar to someone who knows the Transformers well. Like, obviously we had Hot Rod in I can't remember what issue that was, but we popped
Yeah.
up like twice. And then I don't remember because they were in the desert after they escaped from Agora, and were kind of taken in by a Transformer, but I don't remember who it was. So yeah, there have been some cameos in that. I don't remember if the Skuxoid is a character that's from the Transformers mythos, or if that's from a different.
That's
different
just
franchise.
from Transformers.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's mostly just been cameos.
Yeah. Which has been bloody great. Kind of overly world building the entire universe, which I really appreciate.
Definitely.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
Any hopes for the future of that universe? And would you say it's a success so far? That question's to both of you. Josh, of what you potentially know about it so far, if anything.
I mean, I don't know a lot about it so far. Obviously, I haven't had very much time to get into it. Definitely not enough to form an opinion, other than, my not being a fan of one particular part of it. I haven't gotten invested enough with my time to do the rest. I hear it's awesome. You guys say it's great. I have no reason to doubt you. I would like to see it cross back over, though. I mean, knowing that they're in the same universe is great, but I mean, the whole big selling point was having them come back together, was it not?
I mean, I don't know if that was necessarily the major selling point, but the idea of them at some points having connections to each other and crossing over to each other, I think, was definitely like silently promised.
Right.
In a way. I don't know if it was necessarily the point of the universe, but it was definitely an idea that's been pondered.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess not quite the point of the universe. The point of, everybody getting excited that they are the point of putting them, making it a statement that they are indeed in the same universe. Well,
Yeah.
okay, well then obviously there's gonna be, some kind of a crossover, even if it's little.
Yeah. And we have seen bits of it here and there, like Duke making his debut in an issue of Transformers where I believe it was Starscream killed his wing partner. His wingman, I'll say, at the time. And that started up his little series. And I think it was Cobra Commander had Megatron in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
See, I have not read that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's been like crossovers here and there, and you've already heard us talk about Void Rivals with various Transformers characters appearing in that as well. Yeah. So that they're definitely hinting at the larger universe being heavily connected. Just if it will all cross over into one like mini event book, I think it might happen. I think it could definitely happen.
Okay, let me add a caveat to that. I don't want like the whole thing to just lead up to that big huge event and then kind of have no idea where to go after that. I just want
they definitely have like they're building their own stories at the same time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, like we mentioned, like G.I. Joe is gearing up to this whole thing of the Joes versus Cobra and Mars. Like they've built up those two armies as their own things, connected in with the universe through Energon, because they're trying to build weapons and power out of Energon. But G.I. Joe as a whole is being built to not only combat this potential uprising of giant alien robots, but also combat the rise of Cobra and Mars. So they're building that story in itself. And even when they do have a little crossover with the Transformers, they're still going to have their own little side story to themselves. And same thing with Transformers. They're having the whole Autobots Decepticon war on Earth. That's basically been the whole story so far. a lot of stuff has spun out of that, but they're just doing their own thing. So there's no concern necessary, I think, with that there's not going to be any more story after a major crossover.
Good. That's
Yeah.
good to hear.
Yeah. One question I have, it might be the last question I have actually, that I wanted to ask is, seeing as this is equal parts Hasbro IP and original idea, is there any other Hasbro IP off the top of your heads that hasn't already existed in a comic book currently, that you'd want to see pop in to this universe? And I don't even know what there could be at this point.
Yeah, it feels like they kind of have used everything.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
They got PJ Masks. They got Furby.
There's
Just Ghostbusters.
My Little Pony.
Pound Puppies,
Indiana Jones.
Action Man.
Monopoly.
Well, I guess Hasbro probably has the toy rights, but I thought Indiana Jones is owned by Lucasfilm, which is owned by Disney.
Oh, Mask.
Yeah,
Holy
true.
Christ, give me Mask.
Do they
Give
have
me
a
Mask. Mask. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be Mask.
Please give me Mask. I know, like me and Jeremy are like the only two people that remember that shit. That and Silverhawks, but
Yeah.
see, yeah, y'all are like, yep, don't know what you're talking about.
I remember
But
Mask. I don't know
We're before my
Silverhawks.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff though, man. DC, Fleetway, IDW.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like maybe there's not much more they could potentially add.
Mobile Armored
if
Strike
they-
Command.
If they somehow get Furbies in here, I'm sold.
Micro Machines.
There's
That'd
Micro
be crazy.
Machines, yeah. Power Rangers is apparently still owned by Hasbro, but it might just be the toy contract. And either way, Power Rangers already got his comics.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Boom has a pretty
Yeah, pretty locked down.
strict hold on the
They could-
publishing
they-
rights for that.
They could do something cool with like Clue.
Yeah, Gem and the Holograms. Is that?
Did they do Gem and the Holograms?
Yeah, apparently.
I think they did at one point. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kelly Thompson did a mini series. I think.
Is it for? I mean, Hasbro though.
Yeah, apparently they own Gem and the Holograms, at least currently.
They
The
should totally
series.
do
The
that.
series was a joint collaboration between Hasbro, Sunbow Productions, and Marvel Productions. The same team responsible for GI Joe and Transformers. So it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Nerf.
I don't really know how you build a franchise out of that, but
Yeah, just make a Transformer turn into a dart gun.
No, that's how you get the Minecraft movie.
No. Jack Black is how you get the Minecraft movie.
My kids are so pissed off about that. They don't even want to see
anybody's
it.
happy. That
They're-
movie looks really dumb.
They're so mad. Oh, Rom the Space Knight? Come on, man.
I think Marvel might still
does
have
Marvel still own the rights to that?
licensing for that. Because they just released the classic omnibus a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the publishing rights for ROM.
Yeah.
It feels like that's kind of been dormant for years. It's only recently that they did the reprints of the old Bill Matlow series.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that maybe there's not much more than.
A video game where all you do is shoot Barney.
Like with Nerf
Guns.
or a gun? Okay.
Guns. Big guns.
Big guns. Yo,
Big.
Barney is not that big.
Big guns.
Talk about Doom, but instead of it demons, it's just Barney the dinosaur.
Just BFG the shit right out of them. Do it as Peppa Pig.
As Peppa Pig. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Just doing one more quick look. Go bots.
They are. Wasn't that excellent, dude? We watched Transformers 1 here not too long ago.
Still gotta check that out.
And say that again?
I still gotta check that out. It looks so good.
Oh man, it is really good. And in one of the scenes, one of the Transformers, one of the characters is insulting another character, and they call them an insignificant GoBot.
Nice.
Perfect.
I was like, oh, that's awesome. It kept on
My
going. I was
roommate
like,
told me,
did you guys hear that? And I backed it up, and they laughed their butts off because, I mean, they know what GoBots are, too.
Yeah.
They're like,
My
oh,
roommate
because
told
that's a
me-
knockoff Transformer.
My roommate told me Starscream was voiced by Steve Buscemi, and I was like, well, now I'm definitely watching this movie.
Is he?
Yeah, apparently. Or maybe it was either Starscream or Megatron.
Megatron, I think, it's Brian Tyree Henry. Oh, it is. Yeah, Steve
Yeah.
Buscemi did Starscream. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, no,
I don't know why I thought
Megatron
that was
is
so funny.
Michael is Key Michael Key, isn't it? Or
No,
Keegan Michael
no.
Key, isn't it?
No, Keegan Michael Key's Bumblebee.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
Brian Tyree Henry does Megatron.
Bumblebee is hilarious, dude.
Yeah, Badassatron.
It's actually pronounced Badassatron. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's
Arachnid is in this
Badassatron.
movie. Shit, I'm just looking at the cast list on Google. Fucking holy shit, Arachnid. That's wild.
Yeah,
stoked
dude,
to
I'm
see
telling you,
trailers.
it's so good. You will enjoy the shit out of it.
I hope so. I think I
There's-
will. I've seen
there's-
nothing
I'm-
but good things about it.
I'm telling you that knowing what you know, just knowing you there's absolutely nothing you're gonna not like about this movie. You're gonna have a good time front to back.
Yeah,
I promise.
I gotta check it out. Right on. Well, we are just over the 2-hour mark. I think it might be a good time to call it. Is there any more thoughts, feelings, or figures you want to bring up? About anything we
There's so
talked
many
about?
figures I want to bring up, but none that I can afford.
So many figures I want to buy. Yeah. Still trying
So
to
many.
save my money to get that Damien.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, it's out now.
Yeah. No, it's I should have just pre-ordered it honestly, but yeah, that'll be the next one I get.
Right on.
I'm still kicking myself for canceling that Cyborg pre-order because now I can't fucking find it anywhere, and they've got Grid coming out.
Ugh.
That would have been my
That'd
my
be a
whole
good
thing is
setup.
like one Justice League person, one enemy for them to fight, and damn it, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah.
I've got my eye open, but I don't have any hopes.
I'll keep a lookout for you too. Keep a lookout for both of you.
Right.
Sweet. All right, then. Well, I guess then it is time for us to go. That means you'll have to as well. You know, just Do it nice and peacefully, casually, single file out the door, please. Thank you for watching, hanging with us, and or listening later. We will be back next week covering all of DC's weekly releases. We already told you what they are. Same geek time, same geek channel, and that's the show. We're getting out of here, so you'll have to as well. Be careful out there, and remember, in the Geek Matrix, everybody has a home. In the Geek Matrix, you are not alone.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.